Let's talk about confidentiality. Confidentiality in the OnRamp world means keeping all identifying information about an applicant or a client private. That's including but not limited to their name, date of birth, address, phone number, picture, their story, their income, the names of their children, their immigration status. Any of the information that we collect on our applicants and clients needs to stay confidential. Now, here's why confidentiality matters. 4 reasons. Number 1, it builds trust with our clients so that we can engage in their lives. Second, privacy gives our clients power over their information. It means that they're in charge of their own story. Third, confidentiality matters because it's a key part of how we honor our clients as people made in the image of God. We show them dignity. We show that they're valuable and loved by how we keep their information private. And finally, 4th reason it matters, confidentiality protects our clients from being taken advantage of by people who could shame them or harm them because they reached out to us for help. So we must keep applicant and client information private. Now, that doesn't mean that we never share client information with anyone. You can share client information in 4 different situations. So number 1, you can share client information with anyone within OnRamp that has a need to know and has signed a confidentiality form. So that includes the staff, the client care committee, the prayer team, and the board of directors. So you should share client information in a client care meeting with the rest of the team as needed so that the team can make a good decision for that applicant. And you can always share any information with staff. We're always safe to share anything with. Second, you can share information about a client with an outside entity if you have received informed consent from the client. So for example, when we want to send a client to Jay Mader for financial counseling, we get the client's permission before we send their name to Jay. They have to consent first, but then we can share appropriate information with Jay. So anytime that outside consent is needed, please contact the staff and we will help set that up. Third, you can always share anything that OnRamp shares in our public blog or our social media posts. We always get express permission from clients before we ever share their story, their name, or their picture on social media or in the blog. So if you see it there, then you are safe. You can share that as well. Finally, 4th time you can share. There's actually one very important situation when you actually must break confidentiality, and that's safety. If the applicant or client or a child or elderly person connected to the applicant or client is in danger due to abuse or neglect or suicide risk, you must report that quickly. You need to call an OnRamp staff member immediately and we'll help with the reporting process to make sure that the client and others are safe. So there are some places and times when you can appropriately share client information, but what if you accidentally break confidentiality in a situation that's not appropriate? What if you're having a conversation with someone and you realize that you have shared something that you shouldn't have about an applicant or a client or their family? Well, don't panic. We all make mistakes with this at times. Please contact an OnRamp staff member quickly. Let us know what happened, and we'll walk you through it and help make sure that everything is taken care of well. Now, let's run through some common examples of how this plays out in our world. So, scenario number 1, social media. Let's say that you attend a vehicle donation at the tax office for a client that you interviewed and you get a great picture of you and them together and you're really excited for them and you want to share that picture on your social media. Don't. Until you run it by the OnRamp staff to find out if that client has given approval for their picture to be shared. Always check with us first before sharing any client pictures or names on social media or anywhere else. Now, again, there is that exception. You can always reshare pictures or stories that we have already shared publicly on OnRamp's social media page. Those are safe. We've already gotten permission for those. But anything beyond what we've shared publicly on social media, you have to get approval from staff before you share that. Okay, scenario number 2. You see a client in public. Imagine that you walk into H-E-B or a restaurant and you see one of the OnRamp clients that you actually interviewed. Maybe they're there with friends or family or coworkers. How should you respond in that moment? Well, Look over at them. If they smile at you, then smile back. If they ignore you, then do the same. They may be with someone, like a coworker or a boss, who they don't want to know that they needed our charitable help. They don't want you to just walk up and greet them, because then their coworker might ask, how does she know you? And that could get awkward for them. So if they want to talk, let them initiate. Don't go over and initiate a greeting or a conversation. Now, I know that can feel awkward. We're a friendly town, but always err on the side of distance. Let the client initiate if they want to. That protects their privacy if they don't want people knowing that they needed our help. Now, if they do come over and start talking with you in public, don't share anything that they don't share first. Here's an example. Don't ask them out of the blue, how is counseling going? Because they may not want people around them to know that they're in counseling. But if they say to you, I'm still going to counseling, then you can ask, how's it going? But you always let them initiate everything first so that they stay in control of their story and their information. Scenario number 3, you're at church and a friend approaches you and says she heard that Susie just received a vehicle from OnRamp and she wants to know, how is Susie doing? How do you respond to that? Well, simply say, I'm so glad that you're interested in Susie and in OnRamp, but I can't share any information about our clients. If that person knows Susie, they can go ask Susie, and then Susie gets to decide what to share. It's her story after all, it's not ours. All right, that's an overview of how confidentiality works in OnRamp's client care ministry. Please let someone on staff know if you have any questions or concerns about any of this. We're here to help you practice confidentiality well.